For day 5 of Commit, 30 Days of Yoga, we're going to be flowing through a warrior sequence. It was Iyengar who once said, the pose begins when you want to leave it. We're going to be holding each pose today for about 5 breaths or 30 seconds. I want you to feel strong and powerful as you breathe through each asana. If you feel a little bit shaky or a lot shaky and you feel like you just can't hold any longer, know that you're not alone, and know that by pushing through that feeling, you're making yourself so much stronger. Please remember to like and subscribe, and stick around to the end of the video where we break down one of the movements from today's practice. Begin facing the short edge of your mat in mountain pose. We're going to start with a little warm-up. Inhale to upward salute. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, keeping the back flat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up to upward salute. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, upward salute. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, upward salute. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Take the time to adjust as needed. Step your left foot back, arms up to crescent lunge. Find a deep bend in the right knee, making sure the knee remains stacked over the ankle and not beyond it. With as much control as you can, float the back foot up, coming to balance on the front foot, hinging forward from the hips, extending the arms forward to a warrior 3 pose, aiming to bring the body parallel to the mat as much as you can. Hinge back to a warrior 1. The back heel grounds down, toes turning out, arms up. Aim to square the hips and shoulders off to the front edge of your mat. Make sure the right knee is pointing straight over the toes and not turning in. Open up to a warrior 2, widening your stance. Deep bend in that front leg. Chest lifted, shoulder blades down and back, arms out wide and strong. Deepen your breath as you gaze over your front hand.
To extended side angle, front arm to front leg, resting lightly on the thigh without relying on it for support. Opposite arm reaches up as we turn our gaze towards it, keeping the chest open. Keeping the legs firmly as they are, move to reverse warrior, reaching up, making sure we are still maintaining a strong bend in that front leg. Interlace your hands behind your back, lift the chest and fold the body to the inner edge of the front leg in a humble warrior, bowing the head. Engage the legs, holding them strong as you return to a reverse warrior pose. Taking hands to heart, shift forward and turn to face the long edge of your mat in a low side lunge. To a retreating warrior, gaze towards your extended leg as we reach the arms back. Turn to the front edge of your mat, lowering the knee and raising the arms in low lunge. Lower the hands, curl the back toes under, raise the knee, and step it back to plank pose. Tighten up the core. Tucking the arms into the sides of the body, lower to your belly as slowly as you can. Press through the hands, raising the chest to baby cobra, maintaining a small bend in the elbows as needed. Or extend the arms fully to cobra pose, staying long through the back and neck. Lower the chest and press to a downward facing dog. Walk out the heels here if you like. Gaze towards the hands, Hop or walk to the front of your mat. Inhale to a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, lower to fold. Inhale all the way up, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a few deep breaths. To the opposite side now. Step the right leg back to crescent lunge. Back heel raised, arms up. Float the back leg up, coming to balance on the front leg. Hinge to a warrior 3, squeezing the back glute to keep the leg up. Step back to warrior 1. Watch the front knee, make sure it's pointing forward. Open up to warrior 2. To extended side angle, resting only lightly on that front leg. To reverse warrior, engaging the legs a little more now as this becomes a little more difficult. Interlace your hands behind your back, lift the chest, dive forward to the inner edge of the front leg, bowing the head to humble warrior. Deepen your breath. Really strong legs now as you come back up to a reverse warrior pose, still holding the bend in that front knee. moving forward, facing the long edge of the mat to Skandasana. Swing the arms back to a retreating warrior. Turn to face the front, lower the knee, and raise the arms in low lunge. Hands down, curl the back toes under, raise the knee, and step back to plank. This time you can either lower to your belly, then to Cobra as we did earlier, or move through Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Tucking the arms in at your sides, tiptoe forward, lower to a hover, then dive forward, lifting the chest to up dog. Turning onto the tops of the feet, keeping the legs floating. Press firmly through the hands, long back and neck. To downward facing dog. Gaze forward. Step or hop to a forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart in mountain pose. Taking a few deep breaths here to finish up.
Warrior Two is one of those poses that we just see everywhere. Even people who are non-yogis who've never practiced know what Warrior Two is, or at least they know what the pose looks like. Because of that, we often tend to just fall into Warrior Two without considering all these little aspects and details that make up the alignment of this very powerful, strong pose. So let's get into Warrior Two from Warrior One, just like we did in today's practice. So if we're here, and we open up to Warrior Two, the first thing that I want to do is widen my stance. My front knee is now moving beyond my ankle, and we don't want that. So to widen my stance, I'm going to slide the back foot back a little bit further. And how do you know how far to bring it? That's going to come down to your hips. You want your hips to be level with each other. So you don't want your back hip to be higher, and you don't want your front hip to be higher either. That means that you're a little bit too wide. So you just want to get to that point where your hips feel like they're balanced. Once you're here, you're going to get long through that outer edge of the back leg, and you're going to ground down through the outer edge of the back foot. Now it might seem weird, but I want your pinky toe to touch down on the mat, almost like you're lifting the arch on the inside edge of the foot. Good. So now to your front leg. So if my knee is turning in this way, obviously we want to open up the hip and align that knee with the second toe. So if I'm looking down at my foot, I should be able to see my toes. If I can't see my toes, that means that my knee is moving beyond the ankle. So I'm coming up a little bit, and it's okay if you don't have that thigh parallel with the mat. Eventually, that's something that you can work towards. What's more important is stacking the knee above the ankle for stability, opening up the hip, and grounding through the outer edge of the foot. Good, so once we have that all lined up in the lower body, we're gonna focus on the upper body. So navel tucks in and up, and what's gonna happen in this whole section here is that we're gonna tighten everything. We're gonna lock our root, so right down low at the base of our torso. We're gonna suck everything up and in, squeezing. Navel comes in and up for that abdominal lock. Chest is going to be lifted, and we open up our arms, bringing them parallel to the mat. Good. And we don't want to lean forward here, but we don't want to lean back either. What we want to do is find that center and spread our wings. So we're reaching through the back hand, and we're reaching through that front hand. Dristi follows that middle finger of the front hand. That means our gaze. That's where we follow our gaze. Keeping the chest lifted, and the last thing you're going to do is you're going to roll those shoulders down and back, staying long through the neck, keeping the ears up and away from the shoulders. Good. And then once we're here, we hold strong. And then when that becomes difficult, what you can do there is deepen your breath. And don't feel silly doing it, especially if you're practicing from home, but even in a class. This is, after all, a warrior pose. Strong breath is required. And if your legs get a little bit shaky, that's okay. You are not alone.